So you want to use Kagetsu, huh? But you don't know what he's good on. Well, one of the classes he's really good on is actually Warrior. He has enough speed and build combined with Warrior's speed and build and strength to deal really good damage on this class and to put in a lot of work. So to begin, let's go over his best weapons for this class. So he has options. He can go a damage route, like just pure might, or he can go a crit route, and both are equally as good as each other. There's pros and cons to both. Crit requires some setup in some cases, or if you just want to run the well axe, you can easily use this. This thing has good might when upgraded, and it has good crit rate, so it's kind of like a hybrid between Noatan and the killer axe. Killer axe specializes in crits, Noatan specializes in base damage, both of which are pretty good. But any of these three weapons is a good primary weapon, and then as a good secondary, you can run Killer Bow, which is C rank. You can run Tomahawk for 1 to 2 range. You can run Brave Axe as an alternate main weapon, or just as something to use. And you can also use the Longbow for poke and chip damage and doubling. So, you know, Kagetsu's quite fast. With the right build, he can double with this, easily shoot down things, backup attack, poke at, 2 to 3 range pretty effectively, kill like enemy mages, stuff like this. For the other weapons, I just threw the steel bow and the silver axe in there. You could also use the steel axe, but I don't really think it's worth it. You might as well just go with the silver. Now you do get a little bit of crit on steel, so maybe steel axe can be worth it in that way if you want to run like passive crits, but these are better at crits, so otherwise steel is totally fine. Okay, so for passives, I think the best passives are axe power for damage increase, depending on what you need. You might not need this at all. Speed plus or speed taker. Speed plus is probably a little bit better. He's usually fast enough to double, so running speed plus 3 to 5 is probably totally fine. Alternatively, if you need more speed, you can run speed taker, but you will have to get a few kills to get it started. Canter, of course, is really good in a build like this, and Wrath is obviously really good in this type of build. So if you're at like half health, you're like plus 30 crit pretty easily, and there's ways to keep yourself alive at half health. Now for the middle row, we have Gentility, Bravery, so you can switch modes, or when the Erica unit is engaged, you get both. So plus 3 to 5 damage, minus 3 to 5 damage when Blue Skies is active. So when Erica's engaged, you get both the damage increase and decrease taken. Like you take less damage, you deal more. And you could also just damage boost bows and axes, so that's why I mentioned this. You also have Lunar Brace, which can damage boost all of your physical weapons, so also very useful. You have Vantage if you want to do enemy phasing at half health with Wrath. And then of course you have Holdouts if you want to do enemy phasing or you just want to get a jail free card. So if you have like Wrath and you're sitting at half health, this prevents enemies from killing you if something does hit you. For the bottom row, we have Dual Assist because this is a backup, so you can run that to deal chip damage, which can be nice. You also have Draconic Hex if you want to debuff with Longbow, but honestly, he's probably going to be used as like a hard carry, so you probably don't want to run this, but you can if you want. And then of course Quality Time if you have an extra slot and you just want some free chip healing while you're running around killing things. Okay, so for engravings for the weapons, I would focus mostly on crit build. Now, he's not going to be as consistent as a Panette crit because she gets that plus 10 crit, but he'll still be hitting like 70 to 90% crits on Wrath pretty easily with a killer weapon and a crit engraving with Wrath. So Lyn is pretty good starting out, Corrin is pretty good. You get damage reduction, like you lose some damage, but you get hit increase and crit increase on Lyn. You get the biggest crit increase on Corrin. You get plus 30 crit versus plus 20 crit, but do not get any hit increase. So if you're finding the axes aren't hitting or connecting, that can be an issue, but Kagetsu does have good accuracy. He also essentially gives himself hit plus 10, so you could get away with running this. Erica is really good because you get plus 40 hit and plus 20 crit. And then you also lose avoid and dodge, so you do have increased incoming crits. That's where holdout comes in handy. So if an enemy hits you and it crits you, you survive anyways. Marth is good because you get a damage increase, plus 10 crit, plus 10 dodge and avoid. So you get a little bit of crits, you get some hit increase, and you get some damage. So this actually can be pretty good on like an early well axe or an early killer axe. So it's just one of the better things. Now obviously this is one of the most highly contested emblems in the game, but it's worth mentioning that it gives you some crit. Leaf is also pretty good. Leaf does not give crit, but it's good on something like Nawatan, just for hit increase and damage increase. This is one of the least contested damage increase emblems in my opinion. The two are like the most highly contested are Marth and Sigurd. You can run Ike if you want to go Brave Axe build, so you could go like Ike, Brave Axe with Lunar Brace, and you're going to be one-rounding pretty much anything you attack on player phase. This works on Panette as well, but this is just an option. Now you're not going to be quadding with the Brave Axe in this case, but you could run a Brave Axe build with like Sigurd, so that way you're quadding, so you don't have to go the gentility route. So that is an option. Like you go Axe Power, Speed Plus, Brave Axe with Sigurd to get damage increase and to reduce the weight. But these are probably better, like more consistent, but this is a thing you can do, and it would still be viable, it'd still be good. For emblems, I think Ike is one of the best ones here, because he has pretty good, like, he has decent defense stats on Warrior. Not the best, but it's good enough. Like, it's good enough that he can tank, but most importantly, you get Wrath for free. So as you're taking damage, you just get crit increase, and you have, I think, more health and defense, and you take half damage when engaged. So you can just deal pretty huge damage, or reduce huge damage, and then dish out huge damage with the free Wrath. So you could run like Axe Power, Speed Plus, Canter, and then just like you get the Wrath for free. You just run around crit things. And I wouldn't run Erica on Ike. I would run like Corrin, or I would run Marth, Corrin, or Lyn. Erica I'd run on a holdout build just to be safe, because you have incoming crit rate, which means that there's a pretty good chance if something hits you, it's going to kill you. You know, even 10 to 20% crit. 5 enemies hit you throughout a match, one of those will convert. Now you can always pulse it away, maybe that's fine, but you know, it's just something to watch out for. Roy is really good because he gives you strength increase. He gives you the level up thing when you engage, which increases your stats. You get a few points of strength. Based on this, you would get, so you get level up +5, so you get like 2.5. I think it rounds up to 3 points of like strength. On top of +6 strength at bond level 20, you get holdout for free, so you can unlock Wrath. So you have Wrath and holdouts. It's just pretty solid. The holdout Wrath combo is pretty legit. If you also run Vantage, you have a holdout Vantage Wrath combo, which is pretty good at enemy phasing. He can switch between weapons depending on what he needs to do. Lyn is really good for super speed. You could just not run these, or just run like low speed plus, but she can make him so fast that he can become kind of like an avoid tank. And in some cases, some of these engravings enable avoid tanking. Maybe like Lucina, you could run that, but it wouldn't be a crit build. So you could just get really fast, double things, one-round things pretty consistently off of speed, just from doubling. Now, he's already quite fast, so this might not be the best use case for him, so maybe this should actually be lower. Let me actually move this. Maybe this should be like... Let's switch this with Leaf, actually. Let's move Leaf up. He actually would be a good Leaf user. So Leaf gives you Vantage. Now, of Vantage, Holdout, and Wrath, Vantage is the cheapest to unlock. But the nice thing about this is that Leaf gives you Build, which he doesn't need necessarily for the build I'm about to suggest, but Leaf gives you Build, some HP, I think defense as well. But he definitely gives you durability, and he gives you arms advantage, or yeah, arms vantage or whatever. Which isn't the best thing, but what you would do is keep this at bond level 4, don't get the conversation unlocked, and run a killer axe and a killer bow, and you would get holdout, get vantage from Leaf, and then Wrath, and you'd be a holdout vantage Wrath enemy phase unit. And this is a build that also works on Panette, but it should work on Kagetsu. Now you could not run holdout and then just run vantage, like get the vantage, run Wrath, and run something like, I don't know, gentility maybe, and then engage the Erica so you get the damage reduction and damage increase, so that way when you crit it hits harder, and you would automatically switch between the killer axe and the killer bow from 1 to 2 range. So if you're enemy phasing, you would be putting crits out. Now certain enemies you're not going to be dealing good damage to, like armors, without something like Lunar Brace, so kind of depends, but you could make a kind of mini Panette build where you run Leaf, and Leaf is not contested at all, but I would say like the Vantage, Wrath, Holdout stuff is pretty good to start. And if you don't want to run all 3 of these, you could just run like, you know, the Vantage from the Leaf, and then Wrath plus something else. and that would be fine. You could even run Axe Power if you want, but that's a specific build. Now, Erica would be good because you get Gentility, Bravery for free, or you get Lunar Brace for free, or when you engage, you get all of it for free. And when you player phase, you're going to be penetrating armor with Lunar Brace, or just dealing plus damage with Bravery. All of those are good. Now, Gentility is nice because when you attack, or I'm sorry, Lunar Brace is nice because when you attack with any of these physical weapons, you're going to penetrate armor. So you're going to be dealing more damage. Any crit is going to convert into higher damage and therefore has a higher chance of killing. Sigurd is good because you get Canter for free, and you can kind of dive. If you want to be like a player phase dive unit that's kind of like a bruiser, you can do that. And with Canter Plus, which you would unlock after you do his paralog and get the bond level up high enough, you can kind of run around, get a crit, get out, and like position so that certain things can hit you and you enemy phase them. So you could run like a Wrath build with holdouts, like holdout Wrath Canter could be interesting on like Killer Axe or the Well Axe, both of which would be totally fine. I would probably use the Well Axe for this build, just because the Well Axe has better base might than Killer Axe. It is more expensive to upgrade though, so that's something to consider. And then of course you could run Marth, who increases strength and speed, as well as giving you the extra hit. So when you're engaged or when you break something, you get an extra 50% damage hit. And those hits can crit. They can trigger Sandstorms, Lunas, they can crit. So Marth is just a really good endgame thing to throw on a unit. And it's generally not highly contested because it's so late on. But any of these would be good on him. As for other things that'd be good on him, you could run Lucina on him. The backup effect on Chain Guard or Bondage Shield isn't the best on Lucina, but you get speed increase and dex increase, which helps with Axe's hit rate if you have hit rate issues. But the speed increase would be the main reason you'd be using it. And also you get dual supports so that you tank really well, avoid tank really well when you're near B and A supports. It spikes up your avoid. But overall, this is a pretty good build, I think. Like one of his better builds. The other being like Wyvern, and there's probably some builds I'm not aware of. This is all not DLC, of course, so I don't play with DLC. But yeah, that's it for this one. It's the Kagetsu Warrior build. Definitely feel free to drop a comment on passives, weapons, overall loadouts, engravings, and emblems if you feel like I missed anything, or if you want to debate any of these things, and I will see you in the next one.